Yeah, so I can kind of dive into that. So I was a dishwasher one summer, but what's kind of a little bit cooler than that was in high school I started a 501c3 charity, like registered with the IRS and everything, like tax exempt charity. That was a nonprofit, and I had some go-to-market background and some marketing background from that, and we were able to secure over $260,000 in Google Ad grants, and we had hundreds of. It was a virtual tutoring company that we started during COVID in 2020, and we had hundreds of students, K through fifth graders. We realized that during COVID they're gonna fall behind on the basic essentials they need to learn, like multiplication, division, whatever it is. And then we realized high schoolers want to get into college, right? So we realized this is something they could put on their resume that they volunteered their time via Zoom to tutor these kids. So we had hundreds of kids signed up, and we had hundreds of tutors. So that was something in high school, and I kind of architected the go-to-market strategy. And so that was, I guess, not a summer
That
job.
is amazing.
It was a,
I'll just stop you right there.
it
That's
was a
amazing.
full-time job.
Welcome to the world of Eve Pacific. I'm your partner in evolution, Noble Woods. Today, we're excited to introduce a remarkable guest, Bryce M. Hamlet, who's currently interning at Objective this summer, working alongside Kathy Cow in the marketing department. Bryce is an accomplished student at the University of Southern California's Marshall School of Business, where he's pursuing a BS in accounting and finance. He's also diving deep into the world of artificial intelligence with a minor in AI applications, reflecting his passion for the future of technology and finance. Beyond academics, Bryce has garnered valuable experience through various internships, including roles in investment banking, AI research, and even co-founding a nonprofit organization. His diverse skill set, including proficiency in tools like Excel, Capital IQ, and OpenAI,
Welcome, Bryce.
Thank you so much for having me. I really
Um,
appreciate it.
no, thank you for agreeing to appear on the show.
Of course.
Uh, our previous guests are very knowledgeable, very reputable, but you are the epitome of the future in automations, right?
Exactly.
Why don't you start out uh, by telling us a little bit about your background and where you are right now and what led you to this place?
Yeah, so I've always been fascinated by technology. In seventh grade, I built my first computer. So, kind of tech, I've always been surrounded by technology. My mom was a computer science major, and I've always been really just love technology. So, and I also love business. So, I decided right now I'm a rising sophomore at USC. I'm majoring in accounting and finance, but I decided, and I know investment banking is something that I want to pursue, at least for a couple of years, but I decided to minor in AI applications with the engineering school because AI is the future. And I think incorporating AI into a field that's sort of slow to move would be really, really cool. And for example, investment banking, the deal side has kind of remained the same over the years, but trying to incorporate AI is something I'm really interested in and excited about. So that's kind of a quick background about me.
That is excellent, Bryce. So for me, you've hit all the hot buttons, right? Investment banking, somewhere I used to be back when it was still an over the counter bulletin board, right?
Mhm.
The approach to investment banking, kind of the same way it's been since it's always been, right? It's like trying to turn an aircraft carrier. But
Exactly.
with AI, you are the future, right? Even though old money runs investment banking,
Mhm.
but look at the push to Bitcoin and decentralizing commerce and things of that nature. And then we get down to the basics. Go Trojans, guys like you graduate, you go, you intern while you're still in school, and then you get out into the world, and somebody's hazing you to work until you sleep on your desk. That's that old kind of model, and I know it's not the same at Objective, but those are from the outside looking in, and some of the old guard still in that space. That's how they look at things. But if you look at automations, and we'll get into this a little bit more down the line, that analyst that everyone's used to riding and build, putting them under the pressure as that lump of coal to turn them into a diamond, that position is going to change extremely over the next 5 to 10 years just because of automations. Um, let me back up. So your minor is in AI, and you said it's attached to the engineering school at USC. Why don't you give us a little bit of an overview of what's going on there? Because that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think maybe it was last year or 2 years ago was the first year they offered this minor. It's with the information technology program through Viterbi, which is the engineering school. And I think USC's goal was everyone's realizing it. They realize AI is the future, and providing people with kind of a background, a minor, so you can major in something you're really, really fascinated in, which was for me is accounting and finance, but also having a background in AI, which can be applied to literally any industry you want to work in. So I think it was a very smart move by USC, and it makes it a very attractive school to go to because it was the first to move, and it's now a lot of other schools are kind of offering similar programs. But
Yeah,
USC 2 years ago or a year ago, whenever it was one of the only schools to offer it, which is super fascinating.
yeah. USC's got that pedigree, head and shoulders above a lot of schools. I'm from Illinois, so I got to push back. But here is the deal, and what excites me so very much when I listen to the naysayers and those that actually get sick of hearing AI, and then they get on their squawk boxes and say we're in this. I almost want to point to being an AI winner, right? Like it's overhyped. It is not, right? Because AI has been around, since the 1950s, but it's been integrated into everything we do, right? If you use a CRM and it's connected to any type of lead flow, and here is what I want to point to specifically. You're interning an objective, right?
Mm.
And what pain point did you see and your friends see that could be um, rectified by using automations?
I mean, yeah, so my internship kind of consisted of two main focuses for me. I was helping out the marketing team as well as doing some M&A stuff and some investments making stuff for my own learning. But I think in terms of marketing, SEO brief content and SEO in general is going to be overrun by AI completely in the next couple of years. That's my first, that's kind of my first opinion. And one of my tasks was I was doing generative AI, I was doing research, trying to figure out how to minimize costs by using AI, specifically for SEO. So that was one of the projects I was working on. And it panned out and worked out really well. We signed up for this tool called phrase.io, which helps us produce SEO brief content. And then another task that was sort of mundane was going through a list of 1,000 people and typing in each of their LinkedIn names and then finding their LinkedIn profile URL, which is kind of intern activities, obviously. But what I decided to do was I talked to a friend of mine who's doing computer science at Stanford and asked him, I'm like, hey, there's got to be a way to automate this. We kind of used PyCharm and Python to code a small LLM that would go through and look these people up on Google, look at the top 3 search results, and cross-reference them with the job title CEO because I was given kind of some information about them. So that was one thing. I think AI, there's a lot of specific tasks that it'll be able to automate that are specific to companies. I think that's the main goal
Yes,
here is automate
yes,
tasks that are very unique to specific companies.
exactly. And so it wasn't like you discovered fire, but your critical thinking skills led you to actually find this tool to circumvent, right? And a lot of people don't know that the right questions to ask,
Mhm.
right? It's always been done that way. This is intern work. Let
Exactly.
until they run into an intern like you, right? So for me, I look at that and say, okay, you're a critical thinker, and most critical thinkers would be looking for a program like the one at Stanford, right? Because here's the long and the short of it. Even though most companies are not saying out loud, that they're funneling money toward automations? They are, because the
100%.
smart money is on not falling behind, right? And Objective lucked into having you and Kathy come on board because she's a huge advocate of automations as well. What I thought was fascinating, though, um, is that you guys got there at the same time at the intersection of this prime time in business, right? It's a lot that you could do there. And wow, I would really like you to come work with us at some point in time. But I digress.
Mm.
So when you say that you want to go into banking and finance, are you specifically looking at going into investment banking, or what are you looking to do in the future? Because I mean, you've been exposed to a ton of finance. What are you looking to do with your future?
Yeah, I think my goal is next summer, because I'm going into my sophomore year, like I said, next summer maybe try something in IB again and be more kind of on the straight investment banking side rather than doing some marketing or private equity. Try something in that industry. And my goal this year, I'm really recruiting for my junior to senior year internship at a big bank. My goal is to spend the first couple years out of school working at a big bank because I think that's where I'll get to interact with a lot of people and then maybe go do my own thing a couple years later, go back to business school. So that's my
Entrepreneur.
goal right now, but I'm obviously 19, so things can
A
change.
lot of things can change between now and then, right?
Exactly.
Um, I admire you, living breath to breath with a plan, but allowing for the fluidity to be there, right?
Exactly.
And that's a hallmark of a very intelligent entrepreneur, right?
Thank you.
Um, here is something I want to ask you. Now, this have you worked um, like in the summers prior to coming to Objective?
Yeah, so I can kind of dive into that. So I was a dishwasher one summer, but what's kind of a little bit cooler than that was in high school I started a 501c3 charity, like registered with the IRS and everything, like tax exempt charity. That was a nonprofit, and I had some go-to-market background and some marketing background from that, and we were able to secure over $260,000 in Google Ad grants, and we had hundreds of. It was a virtual tutoring company that we started during COVID in 2020, and we had hundreds of students, K through fifth graders. We realized that during COVID, they're going to fall behind on the basic essentials they need to learn, like multiplication, division, whatever it is. And then we realized high schoolers want to get into college, right? So we realized this is something they could put on their resume that they volunteered their time via Zoom to tutor these kids. So we had hundreds of kids signed up, and we had hundreds of tutors. So that was something in high school. And I kind of architected the go-to-market strategy. And so that was, I guess, not a summer
That
job.
is amazing.
It was
I'll just stop you right there.
it
That's
was a
amazing.
full-time job.
You know,
So that
yeah.
was pretty cool. And then I also interned at like a startup for literally a month, sophomore to junior year. But that wasn't really a big deal. But I spent most of my time in high school working on this 501c3.
And where did that idea originate?
I think so. I've always been really fascinated by like the poverty cycle and trying to figure out ways to help people. And I think, I did a lot of research in eighth to ninth grade. And, one of my best friends, we were both fascinated about it. We were both doing research and we came to the conclusion that the way to kind of close the gap is education. If you're educated, you have a lot more opportunities in the world. So we decided that we don't want these kids to fall behind in K through fifth grade when you learn some essential skills. So that was where the idea sort of originated from. And then COVID was kind of like, boom, we need to do this
Oh,
because they're going to fall behind. So
so now how do you feel with artificial intelligence on the horizon that will be able to provide tutors and individual education plans here in the near future at an affordable cost, right? Like on par with public
exactly.
education. They've always said that the biggest drawback in education is that we all move K through 12, and we're all moving at the learning experience of the least among us, right? So now those that can excel, they don't have to skip a grade. They'll have that individual tutoring um, to help them grow at a pace that is more comfortable for them, and then the whole class doesn't have to be in this median, right? No more
Exactly.
grading on the curve.
Ideally, the future looks like, you take a baseline diagnostic test with AI, and it kind of asks you so many questions, and then it can place you in the exact right classes or exact right individual program that you need. That seems like what AI is going to do. And then also AI will probably aid in teaching concepts eventually, way in the future. But I don't think
Definitely.
teachers will be replaced for a while. So
So in finance, here's what I want to pose to you. So they haven't exposed you to any of the work with analysts, have they?
not particularly, no. Especially too, Objective has more of a lean team, so they actually have no analysts, and which kind of shows something. They don't need analysts, and that's the
No.
way we're moving. I mean, they don't need analysts, so I haven't really been exposed to analysts. But what was really awesome was Jack Freeman, who's a VP, volunteered a bunch of time and would really help me with this model I was building and give me advice. So that was really appreciative of that.
I'm
But
gonna
I
have to
didn't
give
really have
him.
any exposure to analysts, but it was really cool because I wouldn't be exposed to a VP at a massive bank, really. So
You will be.
I
I
was
have no
exposed
doubt.
to Jack as like a VP as 19, like when I was 19, which was awesome.
You're going to have a lot of opportunities here in the near future, I can tell. Okay, then. So let's shift gears back to marketing. I had lost my train of thought, and you actually pierced my heart, right? When you were talking about AI and SEO. So one of the aspects of Eve Pacific, right, is buying and selling websites, right? We purchase assets. And I am somewhat of an SEO expert. And working in a partnership with my Canadian friends, we had purchased these 5 websites, built one, built two, and we were having tremendous success.
Hmm.
But then with the advent of ChatGPT 3.5, it decimated the writing sphere. So when you talked about phrase IO, right, that was along with Jasper, that was the content platform that I was using prior to the release of ChatGPT. And then right alongside of it, Koala was released. And that was what I had introduced Kathy and you guys to. But you seem to have been more comfortable with phrase, which it doesn't really matter because all these platforms are getting so much better, right? It used to be for different iterations of writing and things of that nature, but now in massive quantity, these platforms are putting out great content, and they're losing their famous phrases and words like moreover and becoming hard to detect from good writers. So yeah, I really understand when you say that during your research you ran over a couple of tools that really have helped you in the marketing department. What other tools do you use outside of phrase that you've discovered since you've been working there?
I think Perplexity as well. Perplexity is like ChatGPT, but it shows the sources so you can really fact check it. And I would argue it's more accurate since it shows the sources because you can double check and be like, hey, does that align
And
with?
it's not just grabbing it off of some blog, right? it's
Mm,
it's giving you sound references that yeah, Perplexity to me is one of the greatest tools I've ever ran into.
yeah, I think as well, we were playing around with, Kathy and I were playing around with HeyGen. I think you recommended it to us. And I was, you know, you can really use it for marketing, like video content, stuff like that. So that was something else. We never really decided to use it. I think it might, I don't know. I think at the
Nobody created their own avatar.
I actually did, and
Okay.
I did one for Channing as well. But I don't know. I think it's a little too early for video content for I'm not sure. I think
If
maybe in
it,
the next couple
it's
months.
never too early for
Yeah,
video
yeah.
content.
Well, AI, I don't know. Maybe in the next couple months, but that was a really cool tool that you introduced us to.
Yeah, it's all about the omnipresence, right? And
100%.
this is what Kathy and I were talking about. And I'm pretty sure she conveyed it to you. Um, if you're not into video and short content in this short attention society, right?
Hmm.
You're going to fall behind, and that's what I've been really trying to push to objective, right? Is that Hey Gen, right? It's a great tool for learning and development, but it is a magnificent tool, I believe, in my opinion, for creating fresh and diversified content, video content, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'm gonna, I'm also going to turn you guys on to Pictory. It's great with text to video, huge library. I think it even taps into iStock, I believe, if you pay for the premium. So you guys don't fall behind, and never think that you're moving too fast, because that is just a sign of innovation. Um, and yeah, you're the intern there. You
Yeah.
can suggest anything, and if they adopt it, you know,
And it looks,
great. And if they say no, it's just like, hey, I'm in
uh,
school. What do you think?
I think too, especially with like competitors for objective in Southern California or whatever, I think using AI really gives us a competitive edge. Because I was doing other research, I don't see any other of the banks similar to Objective size, similar industry and practice group. I don't see any other banks. I don't see them using AI for at least a couple of years. So I think Objective, we have been using a lot of AI, but I just got to continue on the train every day, reading more, learning more about AI tools. And I told Mandy this, or maybe it was Kathy. I think there will be a chief AI officer at literally every company in the next 5.
Every company, it's going to be inevitable, right?
Yeah.
New technology is going to create new positions. You are in the catbird seat right now, um, educating preemptively, right? Let
Mhm.
me ask you this. Excuse me. In those courses that you're taking right now, are you doing any programming at all?
Yeah, so since I'm going in my second year, this second year is when I'm doing everything. Like I'm taking ethical issues with artificial intelligence in the fall, and then Python programming in the fall as well. And then I'll take another programming class in the spring, basics of AI with Python as well.
And have you used any of these no code programs um, at all during this time that you've been in your internship? Did you look at any of these frameworks that you could use? I mean, because I don't know how far you've come along with Python, but it's always usually that's the foundation for most of these automations, right?
Yeah, I've
Um,
used libraries if that's like libraries in Python, but honestly, I'm not too familiar yet with Python.
okay,
Um,
okay,
it'll be more of like this year. When I coded the thing with my buddy, he was kind of holding my hand, helping me out because like he's a computer science major.
right.
So I think next year I'll be a lot more familiar with coding in general, and I'm really excited because that
Yeah.
skill set, having like a business skill set as well as having a coding skill set, I think is a way to really make myself stand out in the application pool wherever I'm applying. So I'm excited
Oh,
for that.
most definitely. So what I'm just gonna, it's free advice. You do with
I'll take
what
it.
you like, but I want you to look at make .ai.com. It gives frameworks for building agents and automations,
Hmm.
um, which that is the trend that our space is moving in, right? Creating these agents to be autonomous, to do things that on their own that you would be bogged down with, things that we would actually have to spend time and money investing in human capital to teach them how to do repetitious work like checking my emails, returning those emails. technology has gotten to the point to where autonomously, after you get the correct APIs with Google, they break them down into, oh, you can, with this API, you can only read emails, and then you can only send with these. But the agents that you'll be able to create will be assistants that will be able to go in, check emails, categorize them, right? Like aggregate them and do responses. This is something else that I wanted to touch on that I'm going to start introducing to insurance industries also, is when you have that client base, because I know you guys have been talking about, your leads and clients, creating agents that will go in and actually, on a on a smart basis, to identify where your clients are in your funnel, right? In your process, and nurturing them, right? Saying, oh, this referral partner is at this stage, they need to have this email, and then we'll go back, pull that email, send it out to them. These are things that you should be looking into, not just for marketing, right? Because every engine to every business is sales, right?
100%.
So if you can perfect any of these tools, you could be introducing them wherever you go at your next internship. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, making agents is definitely what you want to ground yourself in, because sooner or later, one of these large language platforms is going to be shrunk down and sitting inside a server room at one of these places you're going to go work at, and you're going to be able to create the framework, to create an army of agents for all of those senior staff to get jobs done. You're probably going to eliminate some jobs. Hopefully you don't eliminate, any of your friends, but you as the future will be able to create these agents. Okay.
100%. I mean, I think that's the goal. Whatever industry, like I was saying, that's why it's my minor. Whatever industry I'm in, I think I want to do something with AI, whether it's I'm in business, insurance, like whatever it is. AI, I want to have a knowledge of AI so that I don't fall behind, because I know most of my coworkers as well will probably also know how to use AI. So I really need to know how to be a master of AI so I can differentiate myself.
Yes. Now is the time in my interviews where it's the most important. I want to know, are you team Star Wars or Star Trek?
Good question. I haven't really seen too many of. I didn't really watch that many movies growing up, but probably Star Wars. Probably Star Wars.
There you go. For the dictator and empire, we'll take Star Wars for 100. Bryce, before I let you go, we've covered a lot of things. You've really got me excited. Somebody that's been watching my podcast says that I haven't been me. I haven't been animated. You have really brought the best out in me. What do you want to pass on to our viewership that you believe that we haven't touched on or haven't touched enough? What do you want to impart?
I think we've kind of touched you know, the main reason AI exists. It's created by humans. I think that's something we still need to remember, right? Like AI is created by humans, and humans will always be really important, but it's humans who are masters of technology. Those are the humans that are going to be really important and run the world. So I think we still need to remember that humans are obviously just as important. And yes, AI will maybe take some jobs, or it for sure will take jobs. But at the end of the day, it's the people that know how to use it and the people that are making it. Those are the people that will do very, very well. That's kind of a takeaway. I don't know. I guess that's one takeaway.
That is amazing. Bryce, I thank you for hanging out after hours, giving me some of your time. Again, you are the target audience I want to reach. Those AI enthusiasts that are forward thinkers, critical thinkers, thinking of ways to, eliminate those pain points using technology. Thank you, and hopefully I'll get you back here next year after you've gone through a year of learning and growing.
100%. Thank you so much for this opportunity as well. It was really fun to discuss.
No, you definitely have provided much value to this podcast, and I thank you for that. And to all of our listeners, you can go to what's Objectives website?
ObjectiveIBV.com.
Outstanding. And there are our standing sponsors. And to all of our audience, remember to keep growing, keep learning technology, and keep evolving. Thank you.